So we're going to be talking about Ron DeSantis. Now, as many of you guys know, I live in the state of Florida. Please go ahead, feel sorry for me. Feel sorry for me. It's okay. I accept the sorries, the well wishes, the woo 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 woos, because I do. I live in Florida. Sorry, I got to turn this thing. I forgot to turn my fan off. Okay. So yeah. So one of the things that is interesting is that DeSantis actually got $50,000 from the Orlando Magic. Say it ain't so. Let's get into it. So this is out of the Orlando Sentinel. And hold on, let me shrink it just a little bit. And this is interesting. It says DeSantis rips NBA players for criticizing Magic's $50,000 donation. What in the hell is going on? It says Governor Ron DeSantis attacked the NBA union Friday for criticizing Orlando Magic's $50,000 contribution to the Super PAC supporting his presidential campaign. Quote, it appears the NBA took a break from protesting our anthem and bending the knee to communist China to chirp about my policies, end quote, DeSantis wrote on X, formerly known as Twitter. Oh, gosh. It says the Magic, owned by Dan DeVos, whose family are longtime Republican donors, gave the money to Never Back Down on May 19th, a week before DeSantis announced his campaign. Betsy DeVos served as President Trump's Secretary of Education. The National Basketball Players Association, the union representing NBA players, called the Magic's contribution an alarming given recent comments and policies of its beneficiary, DeSantis. First of all, I didn't mean to take that away. But first of all, one of the things I actually want to ask is, I thought that the DeVos family was loyal to Trump. Would that mean that they don't really give a crap about Trump? Or is it just who is more socially to the right? I mean, as far as right-wing concern, we all know that people like Ron DeSantis are more corporate friendly in his rhetoric, versus Trump tries to have more of a populist message regarding people. But we all know that Donald Trump is just as corporate as DeSantis, is just he hides it better. But one of the things that you also have to remember is always follow the money. Because when you look at the billionaires and the super rich like the DeVos family, look at who they support and look at who they get behind. Look at who the super rich back. Would they back Trump more, or would they back DeSantis more? That's an interesting question that I would actually like to get some responses from many of you who are watching in the live chat, or those of you who are in the rewatch. Put your thoughts in the comments. But who would the corporations prefer? And through answering that question, that will give you the answer as to who would win the Republican primary. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to give you guys an early prediction now. I think Trump is going to win the Republican primary because overwhelmingly the people in the Republican Party are going to want Trump again, partially because technically, financially, they were actually doing a little bit better under Trump versus Biden. Number one. Number two, Ron DeSantis has no personality. Like, real shit. Like, this guy is like no charisma. Like, for all of Trump's flaws and the fact that he is just a horrible person in general, between him and Biden, they're just between him and Biden, it's like Freddie and Jason. But at least Trump has more charisma than DeSantis. But that being said, because of that charisma, I think that more people will want to go with Trump. So the RNC basically going the direction of DeSantis, which is probably something that they would like to do, they would get railed by the Republican voters because they want Trump as their champion instead of DeSantis. However, because rank and file Republicans do want Trump, to be honest with you, as far as DeSantis goes, I think that's who the corporations would want. Because even though Trump is pro corporations, he gives this air of wanting to be populist, versus DeSantis is pretty much fully in the tank and really doesn't give a shit about even what Republican voters want. He's just a corporate stooge through and through. You know what I'm saying? Like, one's a corporate stooge, but he wants to please the people, or not please the people, but he wants to be pleased by the people. And then another is just a corporate stooge through and through, where he doesn't care about being pleased by the people. But you know what I mean? Does that make any sense? Anywho, so let's go back into the article. It says NBA governors, players, and personnel have the right to express their personal political views, including through donations and statements. However, if contributions are made on behalf of the entire team using money earned through the labor of its employees, it is incumbent upon the team governors to consider the diverse values and perspectives of staff and players. That was the National NBA Players Association. So that's basically what they said. It says Magic donation does not represent player support for the recipient. Magic spokesman Joel Glass said on Wednesday that the contribution was made before Governor DeSantis entered the presidential race. It was given as a Florida business in support of Florida governor for the contribute prosperity of Central Florida. Glass had no further statement Friday. Of course they're going to say it. It's plausible deniability, right? So basically saying, well, it was before he ran. What's the problem? It wasn't a political donation. Just support for him doing what he can for businesses, even though it was literally like a week before he actually announced his running. And we all, look, everybody and their mama knew that Ron DeSantis was going to run for president. We knew. You guys tell me, oh, look at that melted ice cream ass face and tell me that that man wasn't thinking about running for president already? Come on now. Please. He definitely wanted to, and you knew he was going to. Look. That's like you as a dude, you got a girlfriend, and then she looks through your phone and she sees that you sent a dick pic to another girl. And then she's like, what is this? And like, oh no, I had a mole and I wanted her to check it out. She's a nurse. I may have been born at night, but I wasn't born last night, boo. We all know exactly what this is. Let's make it make sense. Lord and Lord. These people really take us for fools. Jeez Louise. It says, but Never Back Down was specifically formed in March to back a DeSantis presidential bid, and reports at the time the contribution was made indicated that an announcement was imminent. No shit, Sherlock. Okay. So, and the funny part is, most of the players in the NBA are black. And this latest move from DeSantis in regards to the curriculum about chattel slavery in the state of Florida really just it's a slap in the face to a lot of the players who make the majority of the teams that are black. I mean, it's crazy. And so it's like that's like having an organization that's full of black people, and then it's like, okay, so I'm gonna make a donation to the KKK on behalf of the NAACP. Like, what in the hell? It's crazy. So besides that, there's also another angle that I would like to share with you guys, and this is actually going to be interesting as well. So let's share this as well.
Cable provider. And don't forget to click the red.
Went to the end. All right.
Team has donated $50,000 to the super PAC that supports Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' 2024 presidential bid. And shocker, that has sparked outrage among some players and pundits and others. The donation to the DeSantis super PAC, Never Back Down, was made on June 26th, according to records filed with the Federal Election Committee. Alex Schultz, the politics editor for SF Gate, was first to spot the donation. He tweeted that this is, quote, possibly the largest political donation attributed to an NBA organization. Schultz went on to say, quote, team owners dumping money on presidential candidates, especially conservatives, is not new. In this case, it's very odd that when given the opportunity, the organization is not distancing itself from the DeSantis donation. Now, this is not the team's first donation in support of a presidential candidate or a political cause. They donated $500 to a Democratic House campaign, $2,000 to a right-leaning Maverick PAC USA in 2014, $500 to conservative results in 2016, and far from the first NBA team.
Just let's go back to that. Let's go back to that. So here's the funny part I would like to point out to a lot of people. Whenever you look at these corporations, always focus on the money. When it comes to political campaigns, focus on the money. Who gives to whom? This will inform you not just which politician gets their money from corporations. We're not just going to talk about that, but also the political parties. And one thing you're going to notice is that there is equal share among corporations and the super rich when it comes to political parties. Look, back in 2000, you can technically say that the Democratic Party was actually further left than what it is now. And back in 2000, $500 to Linda Chapin, they're willing to give money to Democrats. That tells you that it's not necessarily about the party, it's about who is going to be doing their bidding. And if the billionaires and if the corporations don't care, then what does it matter about which party you vote for? Meaning, they're all the same anyway. If they're all the same to the corporate dictators, and if they realize that they're all the same, what does that mean for us? Because they're all on the side of the corporate dictators, that means they're not on our side. So why are we sitting here going, well, this person's running in the Democratic Party, but I like their policies. This person's running in the Republican Party, but I love their policies. What does it matter? Their policies don't mean shit, because the thing is that the party and really the people in power are not elected, they are selected. Keep an eye on who, look, I say this before and I'll say it again. Websites like opensecrets.org is actually a wonderful resource because that will inform you that neither party is really there for you. They never were. Well, okay. I'd say probably after like 1960, they never were there for you. They actually had to do something back in the day for you. But now, nah. Because that's not how they operate. And so because of that, this is why it is important to realize that there's only two options, really, to really get change for ourselves. One of those options is third party or independence. That's one option. And that's the minor of the two. The major of the two options is actually building class consciousness, organizing. And the thing is that you don't have to be some full-time activist to do it. You don't. You can just do what you can as far as even informing your fellow co-workers, informing your neighbors, informing your family about what's really going on, and then building that class consciousness through that route. And then maybe, just maybe, share channels like this, share channels like RBN, share channels like Savvy Sabs, or Lee Camp, or Ron Placone, or Indie News Network, do dissidents, it doesn't matter. The thing is that you're building that class consciousness and you're helping people to be more informed on what they are, Black Power Media, the Left Lens with Danny Haifong, Black Agenda Report, send them articles from those sites. That's how you do it. And just post it up on your websites or on your social media. Let's continue.
And far from the first NBA team to have donated to a presidential campaign. In fact, according to a report by The Ringer in 2020, over 80% of political donations by NBA owners had been in support of the Republican Party. But what's odd here is the amount, the timing, and the bedfellows. I mean, the Magic is sponsored by DeSantis foe Disney. Their logo sits prominently on team jerseys. Disney and DeSantis have been in an all-out war after the company issued a statement opposing his Education Act last year, which critics call the Don't Say Gay bill. And now there's Florida's new policy where public school teachers are required, as part of a much larger curriculum overhaul, to teach middle school students that slaves, quote, developed skills which in some instances could be applied for their personal benefit.
Oh boy, that's a clusterfuck. And so that's another piece of the entire puzzle. And so if the NBA is sponsored by Disney, and yet Disney is trying to fight DeSantis, what is it really about? Does Disney really support LGBTQ people? Always look at the corporations. And if Disney doesn't condemn, which I haven't heard them condemn yet, the Magic organization for donating to DeSantis, I hate to tell you something about Disney. It's some goofy shit. I'm telling you. So yeah, that's one of the things that, just be cognizant of what's going on. The fact that the NBA and the fact that that Disney is doing this, it's wild. It's ridiculous. And so I want you guys to, be, up to speed on that, because no matter what, and a lot of times you'll get organizations and players that will speak out on certain things. But the question is, you got to remember These players are just workers. That's really what they are. And people like LeBron James and be like, well, he does this for the community. It's like, yeah, he does that for the community. But my question is that how much tax write-offs do you get? So yeah, it's ultimately about building worker solidarity with people around the world. So make sure to do that, and you can actually have a better impact than these corporations ever could, because you're looking to actually change the system in order to improve it for everybody, whereas they're not really down with doing that in the first place. So